Hello, welcome back to the show now. If you've made it to the top of an organisation, there is no need to stop studying. That's according to the founder of a new school specifically designed for CEOs, entrepreneurs and executives. The school has just been launched in Sydney, is set to start operations later this year. Now, for more, we're joined by founder Christopher Witt. He's joining me in the studio. Christopher, look, thanks very much for your time this evening. I suppose to start with, a lot of people will be out there wondering, well, just tell us a little bit about the school for CEOs, for people at the top of their game.
Well, there's probably two audiences. There's the aspirational crowd. There's the individuals who are young, who have dreams of having their own business. Then there's also those who are already presently in charge. Frequently, it's the CEO who is the first-time CEO.
I was going to ask, I mean, do you see a big demand for this kind of, school? I imagine a lot of people, when they think of entrepreneurs, they think of CEOs, they'd assume that, they kind of know it, or maybe the CEOs think
That's part of the problem.
Is it really so? I mean, is there still a lot to learn and to continue to develop?
You know, the first time I did the job myself, there was a very romantic view of just what that job means. And I think as you go into it and you start to wear the pants and the shoes that take shape, you begin to get the sense that I don't have to have all the answers to be effective and to perform. And this is the recurring lesson that as you practice and rehearse this, much like you would train to be a pilot, it's about getting comfortable and familiar with all the various circumstances that will happen. So when things happen, it doesn't quite throw you off your horse.
Who are the type of personalities, the type of people that you'd get in this? We were talking before about, the Rainmaker, but there are lots of different styles of CEOs, styles of entrepreneur and senior executives?
Yes, there are. Interestingly enough, there's a variety of roles that teams take on. And there's the Rainmaker, and then you have the Goalkeeper, and then you have the Peacemaker. And you have a variety of roles that actually reflect the stresses and the opportunities, as well as the risk management. So in some industries, you find that there's a high preference for not making mistakes. And for other businesses, it's all about creating uncontested opportunity by being first into a space. And in these environments, you have a variety of different experimentation patterns. You have there's a culture that usually envelopes how well either decision-making is consolidated or is spread and shared. And there's, I think one of the challenges for every CEO is being able to look your team in the eye and say, I'm willing to be wrong with you. And there's a trust and a comfort that comes with that. And that reflects the culture that the team is surrounded by.
Why now? I mean, is there a concern about the standard or the quality of leadership in corporate Australia, or it's not about that?
I think there's quite an uneven performance. If you ask me to reflect on the many businesses I work with, I always enjoy the talent and the inspiration, the insight that makes a variety of businesses work. But then I also go right to understanding where the risk factors are. And I think among the risk factors is how cavalier people can be, either A, ignoring contra information that's telling you your strategy isn't working well, or B, you're not picking up the signals that the customer doesn't buy it. There are companies that really trade on certain kinds of romantic ideals. And I think the struggle is you have to deliver on those promises. And if you don't, people see that. And so the CEO needs to have a very highly developed set of antennas so he doesn't begin to believe the marketing fluff.
Look, I suppose one of the age-old questions is about leadership. I mean, in your experience, is it something that is nurtured, or is it something that is, is it nature versus nurture? I mean, are people born leaders, or it's not as simple as that?
That is an age-old question.
It is, and I'm asking you it.
Yes. I think, well, I have to say reflectively, personally, I think that what happens is people pick up on behaviors that are modeled for them. So we'll take the shape of the bowl we're in. So if we're in a very highly compliance-oriented, process-centric environment, you'll find people will be very risk-averse, and they'll take on the behaviors of making sure they triple-check everything before it goes out. I think the reality is the challenge in contemporary business now is that the flattening of decision-making. Information now is pervasive, and it's impossible for the CEO, or for any leader for that matter, to actually stay, A, current, and B, have all the answers. So as you see with other great examples of leadership, people are probably looking to pick up and to absorb reference points around them. And that's what CEO School is doing, picking up reference points of what does excellence look like? How well are we really doing?
And is it also, I suppose, one of the challenges for you? I imagine there are different styles of leadership as well, and different aspects and qualities of leadership that different people bring to the table. And how do you then sort of mould teachings that incorporate all those different sort of sides of leadership into I suppose, a curriculum almost?
There is. And we go through the process, beginning with the diagnostic process. I think one of the enduring lessons in recent years, in about the last 10 years, has been a clear consensus that great leaders begin with their strengths. You seek to amplify what you do well, and you try to mitigate your weaknesses. We can't be strong at everything. So I think in this instance, it's trying to harvest what those are, and then to surround ourselves with people who can complement those strengths and weaknesses.
What about the entrepreneur side of the equation? So someone who is starting their own business, someone is taking risks. It was interesting to note some comments by President Barack Obama a little while ago suggesting that one of the things that the US economy needs to do, and I think this is sort of more broadly, needs to promote entrepreneurship back into the American society and so forth. Do you think there's been a constraint on people willing to take those risks, people willing to take a leap of faith almost, and to be that, have that, and unleash that entrepreneurial spirit? Is that something that is lacking at the moment, do you think?
The tendency or the propensity to be an entrepreneur is actually highly reflective of age and personal circumstances. So you'll find that you have the highest tendency between 25 and 40.
Less to lose?
Yes. And that's driven by, your innocence and naivety on one hand, but then on the positive side of it is your fearlessness. And from this perspective, you're willing to challenge the conventional wisdom. There's an impatience with all good entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs find a path over and under and around obstacles. And that's why we see consistent patterns of innovation where there is a very fluid ability to enter into a market. When you have a concentrated economy like we have in Australia too often, we have many sectors that are very, very concentrated. And the power, market power, is a barrier. Getting floor space, getting shelf space at Coles or Woolies, getting retail space, getting bandwidth, just among the noise of the media, can make it very hard for a newcomer.
Is it then difficult? Because I imagine there are lots of strong personalities when it comes to entrepreneurs and it comes to CEOs of big organizations and so forth, for them to understand that there is still a lot to be learnt, there is more for them to learn, and it's not just about them learning from their own experiences and pushing ahead with what they believe?
There's always a vision behind every really successful team, and the vision usually encapsulates values and what they want the experience to be in terms of between the company and the client. But there's also values about how the team members, the staff, are part of the value system. And I think the crucial factor for us is to deliver on the promise which is inferred. So having a marketing campaign saying you are the best or the fastest and so forth, I think you have to live up to that. You have to deliver. You have to walk the walk and talk the talk.
All right, Christopher Witt, great to get you in, and it starts in October. Good luck with it all.
Thank you.
And we are going to head to a break coming up.